Mhm. Mhm. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining. Please, if you can hear me, let me know, okay? If you can hear me, let me know on the comment section. Just let me know in the comment section, please. Hello, good evening. Please, welcome to our live class for today. Please, if you can hear me, let me know, okay? So that I can start. I just want to make sure that the sound is okay because I really don't know what has been happening. It has been tripping off. Thank you so much. Mazuba, welcome. Good evening. Good evening. So in today's class, I'm going to be showing you guys that like basically how to draft like a basic gown. Okay, so today's tutorial is a simple tutorial. If you are not a beginner, you are just joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for confirming. If you are not a beginner, you can just give the video a thumbs up and then just say hello hi before you leave. So because today's tutorial is like basically for beginners, okay? So thank you so much. Jane, you're welcome. Thank you so much. So the first thing we're going to do, I have a pattern paper here, and then I have a straight line. So this straight line is going to serve as my shoulder line. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll draft the front, and then I'll use the front to draft the back. I'll do the alteration for the zipper bulge at the back. That's after drafting the front, I'll use that front to like draft the back. Okay, I'll do the zipper alteration bulge so that in case so that you not have a bulge at the back of your dress. I'll show you guys how to achieve that. Okay, so thank you so much. All right, so the first thing we have our shoulder line, and then the next thing we have here is our bust point, which is the nipple point. So for today, we're going to use 10 inches, okay? And then the under bust, we're going to use 13 inches. Watch carefully when it comes to drafting a gown. The next measurement we want to measure is our waist measurement. So for the waist, I'm going to be using 17.5 inches, okay? Because I'm going to add a side that yes, I'll add a side that, but I might not cut it off because I'm going to use the pattern for the back. And then the next thing I want to do from this point, I want to mark my hip line. That's from this line, I want to mark my hip line. So for my hip line, I'm going to use my normal 8 inches or 9 inches, okay? So for the hip, that's I'll just come down. And then the next thing I'll measure the full length of my gown. So for this, I'm using the end of my pattern paper, which is about 36 inches. So all of those lines, I'm going to connect them straight. So this is our bust point, that's the nipple point, and then this is our under bust, shoulder to under bust, and then this is our waist, which is like the tummy, you understand, waist, and then this is our hip line. So I'm just using the measurement. This is hip line, and then the gown length, the full gown length, okay? So this is the gown length. So the next thing we want to do, we want to add our shoulder line. So before we continue, let me measure out let me mark out the measurements we'll be using. So the bust, we're going to use a bust 36, and then the under bust is going to be 30, the waist is going to be 34, and then the hip is going to be 40. So those are the dimensions we are going to be making use of. So the next thing we want to do, we want to come to this shoulder line and then place our shoulder measurement. So the shoulder measurement I'm using is 13. I'll divide 13 into 2. I'm going to have 7.5. So I'll mark the 7.5 here and then just add like 1 inch for stitching allowance, and then from that point I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, so the reason and the essence of this 1 inch is to create a shoulder slope. Shoulder slope, we put it because our shoulders are not straight, so that is why it is done that way. If you are just joining us, you're welcome. You guys should please like this video. It's only one person that have been kind enough to help me to like the video. You guys should please like the video. I would appreciate that. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now, I want to mark my armhole. So for the armhole, I'm going to measure my armpit round, and then I will have, when I have 15 inches. So I'll divide that into two. I'm going to have 7.5. So I'll mark the 7.5 like this, and then I'll connect it. So basically what we are doing like a basic dress. Like I said, a basic dress, so it is a basic, automatically is a basic bodice. So from this point I'm going to check what I have. I'll divide that into two, and then I'm going to come in by quarter of an inch. I'll just come in by quarter of an inch, and then from that point I'll connect that line like this, and then I want to mark my armhole. So my round armhole. So the next thing I want to do, I want to use my bust circumference. So my bust circumference is 36. I'll divide that into four. I have 9. So I'll just put a point there for the 9 inches, and then I am going to place my pattern curve this way, and then I'll give this a beautiful curve. Can you see? So because this is my front pattern, that is why I came in. Okay, so thank you so much. So like I said, if you are not a beginner and you're just seeing this video, just hit on the like button, drop a comment and say hello, hi before you go. Okay, so today's tutorial is like for beginners. Okay, all right, so now let's continue. The next thing we want to do now at this point, we want to mark out our full body measurement. So in marking out our full body measurement, we're going to use all of our measurements here, our bust. So this line, this chest, this is called the chest line, that line that you measure for your armhole. Okay, so our bust is 36. I'll divide 36 into 4. I have 9 inches. So I'm just going to use just 1 inch for my darts. I'll place that 1 inch, and then I'll add like 2 inches or 1.5 inch for my stitching allowance. So I'll place it that way. The next thing I am going to do here, okay, let me use 1 inch for my stitching allowance. I'll place it here. The next thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to come to my under bust, which is 30. I'll divide 30 into 4. I have 7.5. I'll add 1 inch there, that's 8.5, and then we'll add 1 inch stitching allowance, that's 9.5. Okay, 1 inch, that's what I am using. So the next thing, I'll come to my waist. I'm using 34 divided by 4. I have 8.5. I'll mark that, and then I'm going to add 1 inch for my dart, and then 1 inch for my stitching allowance. I'll come to the hip line, so I'll just pull this up. For the hip line, I have, for the hip line I have what do you call it, 40 inches for the hip. So I'm going to mark my hip measurement, which is 10. 40 divided by 4, I have 10. I'll add 1 inch for that and 1 inch stitching allowance. And then the next thing I am going to do, I'm going to check what I have here. So automatically I have about 12 inches. So I'm going to bring that 12 inches here. I'll take out 2 inches from that 12 inches. So I'm going to have 10 inches. So I'm going to mark it here. So that's going to be the down of my gown. Like I said, it is a pencil gown. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, all of these lines, I want to connect them together. So I'm going to join those two like this together, like this, and then this one I am going to join like this. Yes, entered where, and then once I get to this point, I am going to take this like this, and then I am going to connect it to here like this. Can you see the shape of our pencil gown? See how beautiful it is looking. So you can see no part is bulky. So the next thing I want to do now, like I said, the next thing I want to do, I want to add the dart for the front piece. Okay, so in adding my dart, here's what I am going to do. I'm going to come to my waist measurement. I'll use my bust span, which is the nipple to nipple. So for this, I'm going to be using 4 inches. Okay, so that 4 inches, my nipple to nipple is 8 inches. So I'll connect it with a straight pliers. I'll divide that into two, and then I'm going to have 4 inches. So that 4 inches, I'm going to mark that 4 inches like this. So I'm just going to rule it that way. And then I'm going to remember we are using 1 inch. So I'm going to mark 1 inch to my right and then 1 inch, sorry, half inch to my right and then half inch to my left. Okay. And then from that point, I'm just going to come down like 1 inch or 1.5 inch below my bust point, and then I will connect that line and then float it into my hip line. Can you see? So you can see, so I'll just mark it this way and then mark it this way. So this is our normal basic, you can see it is our normal basic bodies. So that is it for the bodies. So if I want to add a bust dart to this, that's the sides, that's what I am going to do. Depends on how many inches that I want to use. So if I want to add like 1 inch, I'll just come from the under bust here. I'll check what I have here. I'll just divide that into two, okay? And then I'll mark it like this. And then I'll connect that mark. I'll just connect it to my bust points like this, okay? So that's if I want to add a side dart to it, okay? So the next thing I want to do, I want to come to my neckline, and then I'll use my basic measurement for just the basic neckline, 3 inches by 3 inches. So this is just like a normal standard for our basic bodies when we are doing it. So this is just like a basic neckline. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, if I want to turn this to a shoulder that I can extend this, just check what I have and then extend it. So let's see, let's use our pencil to do that. So I'll check what I have here. I'll divide that into two. So I'll mark that in that way, okay? So that's if I want to open here. So that is why I did this, but I'm just showing you. So when you open here, that's when you open this, that you close this one, okay? So if I want to eliminate my zipper bulge, so for these basic bodies, I can use this for the back and the front. So if I want to eliminate anything like a zipper bulge here, here is what I am going to do. This is my waist part. Most times that zipper bulge is always around this under bust part. You understand? That's the part that used to swell up very well. So for that, here is what I am going to do. I am going to take this in, okay? So from this point, I'm going to come in on around that my under bust. I'll come in by like half inch, okay? I'll mark the half inch like this. And then when I mark that half inch, I am going to float that half inch into my pattern like this. You understand? So can you see? I'm just going to do that. And then I'll take it to the top point also. And then I'll do this. So this will help me eliminate anything like a bulge from my dress. You can see this top part, I did not take out anything, okay? So I'm just trying to show you. So it's just around this part, that under bust part, that I came in a little, okay? So I'm just trying to like blend it in. I don't want it to be looking straight. So this one came in too much, so that is why I am using my pencil like this to like blend it. So this will help me now. When I cut, I am not going to have any issues, okay? So it will help me. So let me just use my marker pen now to kind of like highlight it properly. So that is if I am using this pattern for my back. So if I'm using this pattern for my back, so what I try to do, if I'm using this pattern for my back, when I am drafting the back, I will add 2 inches for as allowance, and then after adding that 2 inches, I'll take this out. So just imagine that this is our back pattern, okay? So I want to cut this out first. I'm looking for my paper scissors. This paper scissors for paper. I'm so sure somebody must have come here to carry it. My people must have removed it from here to go and cut cut noodles. Let me look for my scissors abeg. So I'm just going to cut. Let me just use this one. So like I said, if you are new and you are, so this part I'm just going to blend this part in. You want to perfect your pattern drafting skills, just stick to this channel, okay? Most evenings we normally do live streams in the evening, and what I teach primarily on the channel is basic pattern drafting. So that is what I teach here for our live stream. So you can see, so you can see how beautiful this gown is. You can see how beautiful this is, okay? So what, like I said, when you're using this particular pattern, well, if you want to use this pattern for the back, you're just going to add 2 inches allowance, and then after adding 2 inches allowance to reduce, just extend this by 2 inches, and then you're going to come in from that under bust part, you're going to come in by half of an inch, and then you're going to just float that into the body. So this will help eliminate any form of zipper bulge. There's actually another pattern where that's like from this waist area like this, where I'll have to take out a little bit, you understand, like, so maybe in another class I'll show you guys how to do, like, I'm going to take out like quarter of an inch or half of an inch from my pattern, also to help me eliminate, can you see, to help me eliminate that zipper bulge also. Okay, so there's another pattern like this. I just don't want to teach this today, so just this one is just like a normal basic one, which you can still make use of, and your pattern is still going to come out really fine and good, okay? So I just want to say thank you to all of you that tuned in this evening. I want to say thank you all. By God's grace, I'll see you guys tomorrow evening. So thank you so much, all of you that watched. The people that liked, thank you. Only 2 people that hit on the like button. Thank you, those 2 people. God bless you. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.